Okay, and we discussed the theory of Unit 8 the last time I saw you guys. For the entrepreneurship guys, I obviously didn't get a chance to see you guys before this lecture, but I did share the video of the YouTube video where we are obviously introducing Unit 8. So I hope you did get a chance to actually review that, so that as we step into the calculations, or should I say the exercises of Unit 8, you are 100% with us. Okay, but yeah, so I'd like us to begin with exercise 8.1. So if you can open your textbooks there, that would be great. That would be great. Okay, let me close this up. I'm trying to, okay, maybe let's just leave that there. Nah, let's delete. Okay. Ish. This is proving to be a challenge. Okay, well, let's just leave that there in the interest of time. Or better yet, let me use my eraser. Ah, there we go. Okay. Right. All right, now that that's been cleared up, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. So where am I? Just flipping to question 8.1 in your textbook, and then we will begin. Almost there. Okay, so question 8.1. What does it require of us? It says calculate Sarah's gross earnings for the week. Okay, so it wants us to calculate gross earnings for the week. Okay, then it says Sarah's normal working hours per week are 40 hours at a rate of 160 per hour. Her overtime rate is 1.5 times her normal hourly rate. In the current week, Sarah works 53 hours. Okay, so they want us to calculate her gross earnings. Okay, so firstly, let's write down the information we know. What do we know? Okay, she has worked 53 hours. Okay, this week. Okay, that's how much she's worked. Let me just put a W there for worked. Okay, her normal working hours per week. Just gonna put normal. Ooh, sorry. Yeah. Oops. Home. Her normal working hours per week is 40. Okay. Just going to leave a space there. Then what we know is her rate per hour. Okay. Is how much? How much did they say? It's 160 Rand. Okay. This is not going to be very neat. Let me say it now. Per hour. Okay, there we go. All right, 160 per hour. Okay, and then we know that she has an overtime rate, which is 1.5 times her normal hourly rate. Okay, so let's just put an O for overtime over there. Okay, and then let's quickly calculate what then is that overtime rate. Okay, so we're saying 160 times 1.5. Okay, which gives us 240. Okay, cool. So overtime rate is 240 per hour. Okay, cool. So that's all the information that we know. Again, what do they want us to do? They want us to calculate her gross earnings for the week. So we know that she worked 53 hours, all right, but her normal working hours is 40. So we need the difference between these two, all right, to get the overtime. So that obviously is 13. Okay, so basically, okay, let's just undo that. Okay, and then what we want to do here is this drawing. Okay, this is what I want. Yeah. Okay, so then what we want is to then say, okay, we know that she worked 40 normal hours, so 40 times, okay, her normal hourly rate, which is 160. Okay, that gives us what? Somebody tell me in the chat, how much did she earn in terms of normal hours? Somebody tell me there in the chat. Okay, so I have 6,400, so I'm going to definitely assume that to be correct. Okay. So let's quickly plug that in. 6,400. Okay. And then what we want to then calculate is the overtime. So 13 hours. Let me zoom in a bit. Sure, that should be helpful on your eyes. Times the overtime rate of 240 per hour. Okay, and when we times those two together, what do we get? 3,120. Thank you, Abigail, and thank you, Etienne, as well. All right, you said how much? 3,120. So what then is a gross? What then is the total? Okay, and I can quickly calculate that. All right, you then should get a total of 9,520. 520. Okay, done. All right, so that was question one. Just calculating her gross wage, all right, for the period, all right, for the week. All right, awesome stuff. Okay, so that should have been very straightforward, nothing too hectic there. We can then move on to question two, all right, or question 8.2. All right, so let's do that. Open for me in your textbooks, question 8.2. Question 8.2. All right, question 8.2 in my textbook is on page 233. All right, it should be there or thereabouts by you guys. Okay, so there it says calculate each employee's UIF deduction. In each case, calculate the employer's contribution. Okay, right. Remember I told you guys yesterday, or when last I saw you, that UIF, we take 1% from the employee and we take 1% from the employer. Okay, I don't know if I heard something there in the chat. Hi sir, after class, could I have 5 minutes, all right, of your time, please? Not a problem, not a problem. Okay. So let's just proceed there. Okay, so let's read the question to find out what actually is going on. Okay, it says, Mercia and Dietrich both work for Giant Arms Pty Ltd, but in different positions. Mercia earns 9,500 per month, whereas Dietrich earns 22,000 per month. Okay, right. No problems here. Okay, so calculate, again, what they want us to do is calculate each employee's UIF deduction. In each case, calculate the employer's contribution. Now, one thing that I did mention to you guys yesterday is that UIF has a cap. Okay, UIF has a cap. And that cap, I'm going to write it here, is 14,000. 14,872, and you can see that in the example 8.2. All right, so this is your UIF cap. Okay, so in other words, what does that mean? If you have a salary that is greater than this cap, that means that you will calculate the 1% based on that 14,872 as opposed to what your actual salary is. Okay, this is why we say your UIF is 1% of your UIF remuneration, and we don't say your UIF, we don't say 1% of your salary. Okay, so for the first person, Mercia, her salary is simply 9,500. So there we can say, okay, 9,500, let me do this. 9,500, okay, and we know it, since that is less than 14,000, we can immediately calculate what is 1%. Okay, right, and I'm just going to pull out that calculator for us. 0.01 times 950. Okay, and we get 95. Okay. All right, so that's the employee, and then here we have the employer. Okay, right, it's going to be the exact same 1%. So in other words, you should, I'm just going to write it out so you guys obviously are aware. Okay, which is also going to give us 95. Okay, so then the total UIF contribution, okay, is then obviously 95 plus 95, which then should give you 190 Rand. So R 190. Okay, this is Mercia's UIF contribution for the month. All right, then we go on to Dietrich. Okay, and for Di, let's just call her Di. We know that she has a salary of 22,000. Okay, but we know that UIF is capped at 14,872. So 14,872 times. Okay. And we know that the employer is going to be contributing the exact same thing. Okay, so let's quickly calculate this. Okay, so 0.01 times 14,872. What do we get? We get 141, sorry, 48.72 cents. Okay, all right, and this is the exact same thing we're going to get for the employer. Okay, so obviously then what we're going to do is we're going to have to add, to get the total contribution, total UIF contribution, we're going to have to add the two. And so that is exactly what we do. So we say times 2. Okay, and we get this 297.44 cents. All right. Are there any questions? All right, we have our UIF for both Marcia and Trench. Are there any questions? Is everybody good? Okay, can I get a thumbs up if you're good? If it all makes sense? Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Tato. Yes, it is always capped at that 14%. Sorry, at that 14,872. So they probably won't even tell you in the exam or in the exam, because you're not going to write any tests from here. They probably won't tell you, but if they give you a salary greater than 14,000, even if it's 14,873, you're going to use 14,872. That's going to be your UIF remuneration. Okay, so this is basically it's just the way that they operate. Remember, UIF is an insurance, so it's not something that we're really trying to create. It's not like a real comprehensive insurance where you can get work disability or income protection in a proper insurance company. Okay, UIF is literally just something to give you or provide you with when you've lost your job, and we just want to give you something just to get by on whilst you look for something else. Okay, so if we were to calculate 1% of 22,000, it's obviously going to be significantly higher. Okay, so then it becomes obviously that means that now it's going to be more comprehensive, which is not what they're particularly striving towards doing. Okay, so we have to use the cap, because we obviously don't want to have such a huge significant amount saved up in UIF. Yes, so excellent, Tabian. That is precisely correct. All right. Even if you are a huge CEO or director, you're earning, 80,000, 100,000. I don't know if they're earning 100,000 a month, but it's possible. Okay. You would still be capped at 14%. Okay. Which is why I said, even if you're earning 14,873, anything above 14,872, we would use 14,872 as your UIF remuneration. Okay, we can't go above that 14,872. Okay, Right. I hope everybody is now good on that. Okay, awesome stuff. Okay, so we've done 8.2. I want us to just do 8.3 next. Probably we'll finish this unit today. Let's see. Hopefully we will. All right. Thank you, Bahati. Glad to hear it. Awesome stuff. Okay. Right. Cool. So let's flip to 8.3, and now we're starting to step into the process of recording our salaries and wages. Okay, remember salaries and wages. If you can recall, I want us to look at that process, and it's just 2 pages before question 8.3. You'll see the process. All right, payroll for salaries. The process of recording salaries in a business accounting records is as follows. All right, complete all the information in the salaries journal. That's what we're doing right now. So let's see what information we have here. It says, under required, complete Damien's salary in the salaries journal of Go Fast Traders for May 2008. Round all figures to the nearest whole number. In addition, amounts given are for illustrative purposes only. Okay? Right, round off to the whole nearest whole number. Okay, take note of that. We're only operating with whole numbers. Okay, right. So what's going on here is, this is actually what we're doing right now is actually your pay slip. Okay, this is actually your pay slip. This is what it would look like. All right, these are the deductions that we are then having on one's pay slip. Okay, right. So let's jump into it. Let's see what information they have for us there. They say Damien Julius earns a monthly basic salary of 28,980. Okay. So already we can quickly just post this in 28,980. All right, that's your basic. That's something there in the chat. Set income tax deductible. No. Remember, income tax is direct. So it would have to be based on how much do you earn. All right. What tax bracket do you fall under? Okay, so it's not, it really comes down to what tax bracket are you in. Okay, so it can never be set. In other words, it can never be the same for everyone. Okay, I hope that answers your question there. All right, I'm going to proceed in the meantime. Here it says, during the month of May 2008, Damien received a travel allowance of 1,345. 1,345. So immediately we can also plug that in. 1,345. Okay. Then it goes on to say his PAYE, in other words, his tax for the month amounts to 4,663. Can you see what I was saying? This is fairly easy because literally you are taking information they've given you and just placing it into the right places. Okay, right. Then we go on, it goes to say he pays 2,300 per month towards his medical aid, WMC medical aid. Okay, So where's medical aid? Here it is. And we plug that in. How much was it again? 2,300. Okay. A month, all right. And 3,280 towards his pension fund, future pension fund. Okay, so pension fund, where are you? There you are. 3,280. Okay. Then it says the employer contributes to his pension fund on a rand for rand basis. Okay, so you can quickly just write that here. Rand for rand. Okay, I'm just putting a 1 there. Rand for rand. Okay, this is on the pension. Okay. All right, this is the employer contribution. Okay, if you see here there's all the deductions, then you have your net salary. But if we continue, you see employer contributions. Okay, and there you have a pension fund. So if it's rand for rand, what you're saying is since he contributes 3,280, that means that for every rand that Damien contributes, the company also contributes a rand. So if if Damien is contributing 3,280, how much is the company contributing? Somebody tell me there in the chat. Rand for rand. 1 rand from Damien, 1 rand from the company. How much then? So I don't know, Tabian, I'm just seeing your question now. I don't know if you've ever seen how they actually calculate your tax. I'd advise that you just ask me in class, then I can actually show you typically, because it's not only based on the percentages. There are percentages involved, but when you get knocked into a bracket, then they calculate based on every rand after a certain amount and so forth, so forth. Okay, thank you so much, Tabian. All right. Cool. Yes, Cabello, you are 100% correct. No problem. You're 100% correct. Rand for rand means 1 for 1. So in other words, the employer's contribution is also going to be 3,280. Okay? If they said the employer contributes 2 rand for every rand, okay, what that would mean is that for every 1 rand that Damien contributes, the employer would contribute 2. So it would be then times 2. Okay, so that would be about 6,560. Okay, okay, but here they said rand for rand. Take note of this, guys. Take note of this. They definitely like to include this in these questions. Okay, okay. So far, so good. Okay, let's continue with the information. It says Damien also has to pay 65 rand per month for staff social fund. Staff social fund, 65 rand. Okay. Then furthermore, Damien's UIF remuneration is 14,000. Can you see this? 14,872. They didn't need to tell you this information. Okay. They didn't need to tell you that. Okay. But let's write it down somewhere. UIF. UIF remuneration is 14,872. Okay. All right. So in other words, we know it's going to be his contribution and the employer's contribution. Okay, so times 0.01. Okay. 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 Awesome stuff. So let's quickly calculate what that equals. 14,872 times 0.01. Okay, so we actually just calculated this amount now in the last exercise. And then again, we know that there's also the employer's contribution. So we can actually just say plus the very same amount. So let's see, what does that give us? Okay. So here you can see, again, here we've got the deductions. All right. Deductions that's coming off of your salary as the employee. Okay, so 148.72 over here. Okay. And then for the employer, we're going to put 148.72 over there. Okay, happiness. Okay, so I actually didn't need to calculate this here. Okay, but it's okay, no problems. Now, your gross salary is going to be your basic plus your travel allowance. Remember, I told you guys travel allowance, they're paying it to us in our salary. All right, so we're getting our basic and then we're getting plus the travel allowance. Okay, so let's calculate how much is our gross. Hey, I heard something there in the chat. I'm going to attend to you just now. I just want to quickly add this before we proceed. Okay, so that's how much our gross salary, okay, before deductions. That's our, okay, all right. And then we'll calculate total deductions now. It's, oh yes, thank you, Etienne. You're 100% right. All right, the amount is supposed to be 149, okay, because they did say to the nearest rand. I totally forgot about that. Okay, thank you very much, Etienne. Okay, so this should be, let me erase that, correct myself over here. And that should be the very same. Okay. Okay, cool. Now we want to calculate total deductions. Okay, so let's pull out our calculator. Okay, we have your PAYE 4663 plus our UIF of 149 plus our medical aid, which is 2300, plus our staff social fund 65. Okay, so our total deductions is 7,177. Okay, so there we go. Plug that in. Happiness. Okay, now obviously our net salary, we know our net salary is the difference between our gross salary and that of all our deductions. I think I may have actually just forgot something. I think I may have forgotten this pension fund. I don't know if that's what is being highlighted here. Yes, 100%, 100%. Pension is also deducted. So sorry about that. Just forgot that as well. Okay. Fortunately, we still have that. So plus 3,000 to, goodness me. Okay. Plus 3,000 to 80. And there we go. See, now you know why I don't work in HR. We'd be messing up people's salaries here. Okay, so then we say to ourselves, okay, what then is our net salary? Okay, minus 30,325. What do we get? We get 19,868. So that's how much is going to hit his net bank account. Okay. Okay. But now we have SDL. Did they tell us about SDL? Yep. Very last line, they say his SDL remuneration is 26,776. Okay, can you see? They've given us the SDL remuneration there. So remember I told you, much like UIF, SDL remuneration might not be equal to the person's salary. Okay, so here it's 26,776. Okay, and again, we know that SDL is also, it's not a deduction, it's a contribution from the employer. Okay, so what is that going to give us? So that should give you 267.76. Okay. Y'all can just double check that. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Okay, done. So this, can you see, is how we do the salaries journal. Okay, now be very be aware, the deductions that we have here are not all the same for every single company. Some companies don't have this staff social fund. Okay, some companies don't have the staff social fund, and some companies the employer also contributes to medical aid, but in this particular scenario they're not contributing anything towards medical aid. Okay? So just be cognizant of that there. Okay, cool. So that is your 8.3. Don't know if somebody has any questions. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, I would be sending people the wrong money. Thank you very much for that correction. It should be 8 as well. Thank you, Etienne. Hey, Etienne is on the ball here. He's on the ball here. Teacher is already in the weekend, man. Ish, it's rough. No, I'm still with you guys. So that is 8.3. Any questions? Is everybody good? So it's pretty straightforward, right? You just need to know what are our deductions, what are our contributions from the employer, and then obviously in the question they're going to be telling you all the information. All right, your job is then to obviously allocate it correctly into the different slots. So such a question, you should be getting your marks, but please guys, do practice these things so you're comfortable with them. Okay, I think how they trick you guys out is when you haven't practiced it enough, you start slotting things in the wrong places. Okay, anyway, so let's proceed to 8.4. And before we proceed to 8.4, let's quickly flip back to our process. Once we've completed all information in the salaries journal, we then post salaries journal to the general ledger. Okay, so this salaries journal, we now need to post this thing to the general ledger. Okay, let's see how do we go about that. Okay, so we want to go to question 8.4. Okay, and I don't think we will get through all of it before the break, but we will start. Okay, we will start it. Okay, so another thing you guys should make use of, particularly at this juncture, because this is where my students actually see flames. All right, because they haven't practiced, they've undermined this unit. Yes, it's easy, but they undermine this unit, and this is where we begin to catch them out. When we start saying post to the general ledger. Okay, so for starters, we have creditors for salaries. Now, I want to just talk about this for a bit. Remember, I told you guys when we were discussing this thing in class that I already know how much I'm going to get paid. All right. We all already know how much we're going to get paid at the end of the month when we start at the beginning of the month. Okay. So the employer has written in the journals, has written in the general ledger, this is how much we're going to pay these individuals at the end of the month. That's why we're calling it creditors for salaries, okay? Because it's something that is owed to the employee, because we have not yet paid it, but the employee has already worked during the course of the month. We know he's going to work during the course of the month. So it's something that's owed to him or her. Okay, so here, what we then write under details is salaries expense. Okay, and this is the amount that's now going to hit the individual's bank account. Okay, all right. And then under folio, where are we posting from? We're posting from the salaries journal. Okay, and this was for what month? Let's quickly see. What month? This was for May. It was for May, right? Let me quickly see here. What month did we do this for? Yeah, it was for May. So I don't know why we put SJ4 here. Okay, that's very strange. Okay. Well, I'm looking at, I had a look at yeah, I think this should be okay. Here I see they've written SJ4, but that's typically month of May is the 5th month. So I'm not sure why they did it that way, but okay. So here, sales, sorry, salaries journal, that's what SJ stands for. Okay, and I'm just going to be consistent with that for there, but it should be 5, to be quite honest with you, because it's May. January, February, March, April, May. May is the 5th month. Okay, anyway, right. So I'm just going to put 5 there. Right. So let's proceed. Then, what was his net salary? We calculated it there. I believe it was 19,000. 19,868. Okay, right, cool. So we've dealt with that. Then we go on to the next. We now go to the EMP 201. And remember, I told you guys the EMP 201 is where is the declaration. And this is the document that is sent to SARS. And what are we recording in the EMP 201? We're recording the fact that we have paid this individual their salary, and we have removed the following deductions: PAYE, UIF, and SDL. Okay, so that's what we want in our EMP 201. We want to ensure that we have recorded the fact that we have paid UIF, PAYE, and then SDL. So guys, as we go through this, you can also look at the example 8.4. And if you look at example 8.4, you can see the EMP 201 control account. There it says 200 on, in my book, it's on page 239. There you can see salary expense, PAYE, salary expense, UIF contribution, SDL contributions. Okay, so let's quickly do the same. So here we say, and maybe I should just copy and paste this. Salaries expense, but here I want to start with PAYE, like they do in the example. Okay, salaries expense, and here I want to put UIF. Okay, and again, can you see something interesting? Something interesting. This salaries expense, this is the deduction. This is coming off of the person's salary, deduction from the person's salary, the employee, SJ. Let me just put SJ for now. Let me just put SJ for now. I'm just going to remove this 5. I don't know why they used 4 in the example. This is for January, in January, but then they put 11. So I don't know what these people are doing here, but oh well, it's okay. It's okay. All right, so let's start there. How much did he pay towards his tax, his PAYE? Let's quickly see. Yes, it was 4,663. How much did he pay for UIF? What was his deduction? Remember, it was capped at 1,487, and that was, we rounded it off, and we had 149. Then we go on to say here, as you can see in the example, all right, here we then say UIF contribution. Why is it UIF contribution now? Because this is coming now from your employer. All right, so again, salaries journal under folio, and it's going to be the exact same amount. Remember, it's 1%, 1%. And then here, SDL contribution again. Remember, SDL is a contribution that comes from the employer. The employee never pays that thing. Okay, never pays that thing. And thank goodness for that. We have enough deductions as easy in life. All right. And we calculated that SDL to be 268. Okay. Now, when you add all these amounts together, you then get this 5,229. All right. And this amount is what we then are obviously paying over to SARS. Okay. Because SARS is the one that collects these things. Okay. All right, guys. So let me just quickly do the, again here, we have medical aid. This is the last one I'll do, and then I'll give you guys a break, okay? In folio, it's going to be SJ again, all right? Under details, all right? Again, what are we going to say? We're going to say salaries expense, okay? Because it's a deduction, all right? From the employee, okay? We're not, if we had a contribution, we'd also say medical aid contribution, but it's only a deduction off of the employee, all right? And how much did we deduct from his account for medical aid? It is 2,300, okay? Right, okay. So I think for now, let's just stop there. Let's just stop there. Let's take a quick break, and then we will proceed with this. Can you see how we are now posting the amounts that we had in the salaries journal to the general ledger? Okay, to the general ledger. This WMC, medical aid, these are the people who actually manage his medical aid. Okay, so we owe them. They are credited to us. That's why we are crediting this amount over here. We owe them, but we only pay them at the end of the month. Okay, right. Okay, guys, let me give you your break. So if we can return at 11:24, we will then proceed. Okay. Oh yes, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, and then we will deal with them. Bahati, I'm going to answer your question in as soon as we jump into the next session. All right. I will tell you soon enough. Okay, cool.